Why do house listings expire? You've seen this happen. A house sits on the market for a while and it doesn't get sold. You see an agents for sale sign sitting in the yard for months and months, and then all of a sudden, another one appears. Sometimes the new agent will get the house sold, but sometimes, no matter how many different agents list the house, it just never gets sold. Let's find out why. So you've been watching that house expire. That's industry speak for when a house doesn't get sold during the time frame that an owner has a listing contract with a particular real estate agent. When a listing expires, it's not uncommon for the owner to hire someone new to list their home because they're figuring that the first real estate agent just didn't have what it takes to get their home sold. But it usually is not the agent that was the problem. There's a few common problems and a couple uncommon ones as well that cause a house to expire. However, it almost always boils down to one specific issue and one specific solution. So here's a list of the typical problems that lead a house to expiring so that you don't make the same mistakes when you sell your own house. We'll end up in the end with the one that's the overall problem and solution. You can't sell what people can't see. Sometimes it just boils down to buyers being unable to get in and see the house easily. Some homeowners make it too difficult for buyers and their agents to come in and view the home. It's fine to have some limits, but if a homeowner requests that a buyer gives 24-hour notice and will only allow the house to be shown on Thursdays between 11:30 a.m. and 2:23 p.m., that makes it pretty tough to see. And I can tell you from experience as an agent for over 20 years that they used to train us that if a home was marketed as by appointment only, that it would go on the bottom of the stack of homes being shown because agents want to get out there and show as many homes as they can at one time that day and hopefully make that sale. So unless there's a really good reason to have your house by appointment only or certain times, then by all means, make it as easy to access as possible. In Orange County, as of this recording, there are 5,929 homes that we have available to show you at any time that you're ready. And don't forget, we're the only agents in all of Orange County who will give you your first month's mortgage payment. The maid is on permanent vacation. It can be tough to keep your house spotlessly clean while it's for sale. People wake up and run out of the house for the day. They leave some dishes in the sink or the beds are unmade. You know, that happens. It isn't the worst thing in the world, but some houses are just a mess. Buyers and agents come in wondering how anyone lives there or who even lives like that. There's stuff everywhere or it smells. No matter how much imagination a buyer might have, it's hard to truly look at a house that's extremely cluttered or downright dirty and picture themselves living there. Location, location, location. The location of the house isn't necessarily always the best thing. It might even be undesirable. If a home is located on a main road or under power lines or train tracks or across the street from a firehouse, it can be harder to sell and it may take some time to find the right buyer to come along. And in this case, there isn't much that the listing agent can do or you as the seller, right? You can't move the house. You remember supply and demand from Economics 101, right? Well, if the market is slow or it's a buyer's market, it isn't uncommon for houses to expire. Sometimes it's just a simple matter of supply and demand. If there are a lot of houses in the market and only so many buyers buying, then there's only so much that you can do. Sometimes it's a matter of buyer preference. A house can be easy to show, clean, priced well, against the competition, but if there's only one buyer for every 10 houses that are equal in appeal and are priced basically the same, there will be 9 disappointed homeowners and one happy one, of course. That buyer may have just chosen a house that they chose because they knew someone who lived on the street, they liked the paint color or the layout or some other unknown reason. And again, there isn't much that a homeowner or agent can do about this. This also works the same with affordability. There may be tons of buyers and very few homes, so therefore lower supply, higher demand, right? But if the buyers can't afford the homes that are available, well, then it's going to cause houses to sit on the market and expire as well. Now, to be fair, it could be just that, well, the real estate agent or agents that the homeowner hired stink at selling houses. That could be the case, but it usually isn't really the problem. And another agent usually really isn't the solution. Most of the time, agents are advising their clients to make the home as easy to show as possible and to declutter and keep it as clean as possible. And they take into account the location of the home and the supply and demand. Now, that doesn't mean that they're Clients, the sellers, listen to them with regard to the biggest problem and solution that takes care of all of the previous things that we just discussed. Now, you knew I was getting to this, right? Of course, price. You may have heard this before. In real estate, price isn't always the problem, but it's always the solution. And I've actually had people tell me, Anthony, you're only saying that because you're a real estate agent and you want the big fat commission. You don't care what price my house sells for. And after 20 years of being in this business, I can tell you that is not the case. I want the most money for your house as well. And so does every other agent that's out there. But a house can be worth every penny that a homeowner is asking, and it very well may be justified by recent comparable sales in the area. But price will get a home sold. And if a home isn't selling, it's almost always due to the price not being appealing enough to overcome any of the previous factors, because price can overcome having strict showing times. If a homeowner wants to limit their house to being shown to 1 day a week at a certain time, fine. If you price your house aggressively, buyers will go out of their way to adjust their schedule. It can overcome clutter and messiness. It doesn't matter how awful the house shows or how smelly it is, if it's priced appropriately for the condition. It can overcome supply and demand. If there's a few homes that are selling and there's a lot of similar choices for buyers to choose from, at a lower price will certainly make the buyer's choice easier. Same thing with affordability. Obviously, they can't afford it because the prices are too high, so an adjusted price could address that. As much as real estate agents are perceived as being pushy, most are not, and they get blamed for houses not selling and for expiring, when most of the time it's really because the homeowners that they represented didn't listen to their advice about pricing their home. It even happens to me. Price takes into consideration every single factor. So when you see a real estate agent sign linger for too long or watch their sign disappear and somebody else's take their place, don't be too quick to judge the listing agent for the lack of success. It's more than likely due to the homeowner who isn't listening to good advice that would help them avoid these common issues and get the home sold. If you'd like a free, no obligation, no pressure consultation to get an idea of what your house is really worth in this marketplace before you decide to sell it, let us know. I'd be happy to do it for you.
Want a deal when you buy or sell your home? Anthony will work his fingers to the bone. He'll work his fingers to the bone just to get you in a home. Anthony will work his fingers to the bone.